Hello, everybody. Good morning and welcome to the market color of the 11th of July 2024. My name is Abigail and I'm going to be doing a quick analysis on commodity currencies. But before we proceed, I'd like to ask that we please share the link to as many people as possible so that they get to take advantage of what we have going on here. So we'll just take a quick pause, 30 seconds, while we wait for you to share the link and get more people on board. So we're going to be waiting. I'm counting in my head mentally. I'm believing that you're already sharing the links to the different forest group chats you belong in, as long as they allow sharing of links, of course. Okay, I have faith in Mr. Lawal, and I have faith in Idimanki. Forgive me, Idimachi. Yes, I have faith in Idimachi. That you're also sharing the link, and Mr. Shea. All right, so let's just go straight to business, right? So AUD USD, what exactly are we seeing on this guy today? Thank you, ma'am. So, right, for AUD USD, I'm going to be looking at this starting from the daily time frame today. You see that, good morning, Mr. Emmanuel. You see that price finally broke above all of these levels that were had here for you a while. It broke above the highs we've had since what? December of last year. AUD USD finally broke above it. So where do I think AUD USD is heading to next for the daily time frame? I believe it most likely is coming here. This high right here might now serve as the next point of resistance, which happens to coincide with the trend that we have pointing downward, right? So I'm looking at AUD USD and I'm thinking, okay, maybe it's coming here. On the 4-hour time frame, our trend is clearly to the upside. 1-hour time frame, the same thing. Now we have CPI coming out at 130, right? We already know that. So the two things would happen, of course. It's either it buys or it sells. But for the sellers, me preferably, if I'm looking to sell AUD USD today, I would want to see AUD USD break below this level and retest. And then I'm going to be selling AUD USD if I decide to trade in news, which I most likely will not, because everything seems a bit jumbled up. If you look at FIVs, you see that we don't even have a clear economic theme at the moment. And I believe CPI is going to bring us a clear perspective on that. So I will not be trading CPI today. But what I think AUD USD is going to do, it's been buying for so long, right? We just might see a quick spike up and then a move downward to trade all the way into this trend, or at the very at the barest minimum into our pullback, which is right here. So I'm going to draw out these lines at those points of interest. Pay attention to the FVG, which we have here, and the resistance level as well. So I'm going to put this right here. We just might be seeing a resistance become a current support. So AUD, of course, it's CPI. We know how it spikes up and down. So I see a quick move upward and then a move downward into the momentum where it will now find support. We go down to the 5-minute time frame and do what we always do here, which is basically marking out our highs and lows to now have a defined level. You see that currently price has found support as yesterday's high. We've seen a break below a retest, right? It has found support here. So is AUD USD going to continue buying from where it currently is? We will watch and see. Yeah, I'm not interested in trading today. Okay, so I've marked out the basic levels that we look at, right? Price is here, it's finding support. Go down to the 1-minute time frame, following the order strategy, of course, and we see structures being formed to the upside. Then we might take a short buy on AUD USD pending the CPI news, and before that we get out. But when you come on the 1-minute time frame, now you see that price already broke below this level and looks like it's going to retest for a sell-off. So even before I enter on this AUD USD buy on the 1-minute time frame, I need to see it aligned with the 5-minute time frame, which it is not aligning right now. So I'm going to keep watching the 5-minute time frame. The probability of AUD breaking below this level and trading all the way into the trend is a thing, right? So until the 1-minute time frame confluences with the 5-minute time frame, I'm going to keep watching. However, our general bias on AU right now is a buy. I see price trading above, but during the news, we may just see a quick spike up and then a move down into the level which we marked up, which is our momentum level, which happens to coincide with the resistance fair value gap that could now become a current support. So resistance turning support in the future. That's it for AUD/USD. On NZD/USD now, what do we see? What do we see here? So, 4-hour time frame, it looks like it's in the range to the downside. It's all jumbled up in between the indicators. On the 1-hour time frame, however, we now see that it's spread out. So NZD/USD 1-hour time frame is looking like a clear sell. It's broken below the momentum of below our Keltner channels. It has gone back to retest. Keltner channels basically meaning our indicators, and has gone back to retest. So the sell momentum for NZD/USD is stronger, right? It's looking so. NZD/USD might keep retesting, maybe buy all the way back into the trend before it now continues to sell, following the trend, the temporal trend that we're seeing on the 1-hour time frame. So will the CPI now continue forming cells that would eventually get or give the 4-hour time frame a new clear bias to downside? We will watch and we will see. So marking out basic levels as well here. Marking out NZD/USD on the 5-minute time frame. Our Facebook students will know exactly what I'm marking out here. These things are pretty much, they're very, very repetitive. You're just doing the same thing over and over again every time you come to your chart. Now, on the 5-minute time frame, what do we see? I see NZD/USD doing this, trading back into my trend first. So I see a quick buy on NZD/USD, gets here, and then we see resistance level being formed and structures being formed to the downside. Then we're going to continue selling NZD/USD. But for now, I see a retracement back into the level. For those of you who use price action, you can take note of the levels I just marked out. When price gets to those levels and you see your specific entry patterns formed, then you know what to do, right? So as a quick recap on NU, structure on the 1-hour time frame is to the downside. On the 4-hour time frame, it looks like a range, but still to the downside because it didn't break above, right? It's still stuck somewhere below it. And if you look at the sunshine, it's giving lower lows and lower highs vibes. So 1-hour time frame to the downside. What do you want to see on 5 minutes? We want to see a quick retracement back into trend and then possible drop. But we're not going to just jump into a sell when price gets here. We're going to wait for specific entries on the 1-minute time frame to confluence first, right? Before we now take advantage of any sell opportunities that we see on NU. Emmanuel asked the question. So AUD/USD, what are we seeing? Structure is clearly to the upside. So you see how we already have some sort of funny business going on. Ideally, you see AU and NU trending together, always moving in the same directions, but now we're seeing differences in price movement. So for AUD/USD, Mr. Emmanuel, I said it's already broke above this level, and I see it's trading all the way into this high. Now we know how CPI works. It could be a spike up and down. So I see AUD/USD giving a quick move upward and then a retracement back. Where is it going to retrace back into the pullback which we have here? And just at that level, we have a resistance level here. We have a fair value gap. We have diagonal liquidity. That's if you're looking into price action, you're seeing all of this good stuff happening, right? Let me zoom in. So you're seeing diagonal liquidity that could be cleared, a fair value gap, a resistance level here that could become present support, which just happens to coincide with our pullback momentum, right? So CPI always spikes. However, my full bias on AUD/USD is a retracement back into this level, and then at that point we'll now see if AUD/USD will either continue buying or it's just break structure below and trend along with NU. I hope that's clear now. CPI comes out at 1:30 p.m. So if I were to recommend, I would say just watch and see. Save your capital for after CPI. Let's have a clear view on what this market is doing. Remember, we're not the market makers. We only analyze what we see. Looking at USD card. So USD card is to the downside. You see what I see here, right? Price action traders, you can see that structure is being formed to the downside. Indicator traders of our FS book and course, you can see that price is currently here. It's breaking below it. On the 1 hour time frame, structure is also to the downside. But what do we expect to see now? So I'm expecting a reversal on USD card back into this level. The first level is going to trade into is either momentum. The second level will now be trend. So I'm seeing reversal back into these levels and then a drop. So it's going to keep buying until we see a new sunshine, which will basically just indicate profit taking on those that are currently buying this. Now, of course, sunshine will print. So that's not like a standard procedure for us to say, oh, the sale is going to happen now. However, it shows us that the guys who were riding this are currently taking their money out of the market. So we should start watching out for reactions to the downside following the overall trend that we have. So pretty similar to what I did on AU and NU, I'm going to do the exact same thing on USD card, which is basically drawing out yesterday's high and yesterday's low. And then draw out day before yesterday's low. And then I'm going to draw out day before yesterday's high. Why am I drawing out these levels? These are just points of interest. So these levels are just going to be on my chart, and they're only this time frame is going to be the only thing I'm looking at till price gets to my level of interest before I now fine tune it to the 1 minute time frame to look for entries. So that way you can easily be trading and doing other stuff with your life, right? So we have this now. Momentum is pointing upward. Sunshine is now inside the trend. Now, if you're looking at the 5 minute time frame, this is a good place for it to start reversing. But because we have a level here that could act as a support, we're going to watch and see if price trades exactly into this level that we just marked out, and then it gives reactions to the upside, then we know that we're catching the reversal back up. But if it doesn't and it breaks below it and gives a retest downward, then we just might see USD card continue its sell from where it currently is. However, I still believe USD card is going to buy a bit more, at least here, and most likely break above this level to meet our 1 hour trend. Now, let's quickly look at the economic theme to see why I say that we don't really have a clear play in view right now. Just going to quickly look at that. Okay, forex performance. On the daily time frame, what do we see? It's still reloading, so we'll give it a second to get done doing that. And then we'll see if we have a clear play in view. Okay, so we see pound here, we see Canadian dollar here, we see the euro here, right? AUD and Aussie, AUD and the dollar are stuck in the middle. The NZD is the weakest. Right next to it, we have safe haven currencies. So it's all jumbled up. I don't even know if jumbled up is a word. Okay, it just refreshed. It's jumbled up a word. Please permit me. I'm a forex trader. That's always my excuse. Okay, so on the daily time frame, right? This has refreshed now. Regardless, it's still not clear. Ideally, we want to see the New Zealand dollar and the Aussie right next to each other. We want to see the safe haven currencies together and the financing currencies together. But right now, what do we have? We have our Canadian dollar all the way down here. However, what I see now, it looks like there's starting to be a rotation. So we just might see AUD USD eventually jump up here to give us a risk on play, and then the safe haven currencies will finally move to the downside, and Canadian dollar will go and meet its cousins with the financing currencies stuck in the middle. I know some of you might not be familiar with what I'm saying. If you want to fully understand all of these terms that I'm using, send us a DM, arrow for all of our course, and you're going to be taught what these basic terms mean. But yeah, we don't have a clear view on the daily time frame. Let's look at the weekly time frame as well to see if we have a clearer perspective. I'm going to wait now for this one to finish loading for it to show one thing and then refresh the next second. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, the same thing. Aussie, the New Zealand dollar is here, CHF, JPY are here. Look at where Aussie is. So it's mixed up. I don't have a clear view yet. So I'm going to be waiting for 1:30 p.m. CPI. I'm going to be watching. Of course, I still have my buyers, so I might even just take them on a demo account, right, to see how they play out. You don't have to always be trading on your live account. Trading on your demo account is also trading. It just gives you that confidence that you know what you're seeing in the market. And of course, over time, you might even be bold enough to start trading news, even though I do not recommend you trade news, because news can do you shiggy. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the pairs we're looking at this morning. If you have any questions, please let me know before my colleague Imola comes on board to look at indices. Do you have any questions? As a quick reminder, ATM cash flow Abuja edition is coming up on the 24th of July. We're going to be in your city again. Please be there. I look forward to seeing everybody there. If you don't know how to trade, this is the perfect opportunity. Not only am I coming with my colleagues, our CEO, Ejimi, the profitable investor, will be there himself to teach you the strategies in person. So tell me why you won't take advantage of that. Really, why? Why not? So yeah, please ensure, spread the news. While trading this, okay, so I have a couple questions. While trading this, are you still trading VIX? Yeah, although most times I only look at the VIX market during the weekends, but predominantly I am a currency trader. But of course, I also trade VIX. That was the first thing I learned in this forex trading business. That was the first ever thing I ever learned. That was what 2022 July. I also took the training here at the Value Flow Training Academy, our ATM cash flow course. Okay, how do we get the link to enroll for the classes? It's simple. Send us a DM. Send us a DM on Telegram, send us a DM on WhatsApp, and we are going to put you through the process. Very easy, very stress-free, very seamless. Do you guys do account management? Do you trade for people? So we did have that service. We did have that service going on a while back, right? We don't necessarily do account management right now, but you should send a DM and we'll hook you up with some services that can help you make passive income on the side. So please just send us a DM, Telegram, WhatsApp. All right. Okay, so let me not take too much of our time because we still have another session to go through. So if you have more questions, please just text on Telegram. I'm there. Even the market follow group, I'm there as well. You can just tag at Abby or just say Abigail and I'm going to respond. All right, so with that being said, do have an amazing trading day if you're trading and stay safe. Apply proper risk management. Cheers and God bless.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome, and good morning once again to us all. Similar Global here. How are we doing today? So, welcome to the second part of this London session market color, the Value Flow Trading team, and of course, with our preferred broker, Octa, formerly known as Octa FX. How are we doing today? It's quite low today with the Zoom call, we're about 14. I think we want to attribute that to the raining season, right? It's quite cold. So let's go straight to the chart and see what is happening on US 30, NAS 100, and also S&P 500. Those guys have been doing quite a lot, right? For a while now. but we're all good. Okay. Let me go straight into the chat. Oh, yes, 30. All right. Let's start with NAS 100 before we go to this guy here. Is there anything special on NAS 100? And nothing really special. This guy has been bullish, right? Like we said last week, at the beginning of this week on Tuesday, right? Any opportunity you see for a retracement, just buy on NAS 100. Where you're going to buy from, that I can't tell you specifically, right? But every retracement you see is for a buy, and it's retracing to other blocks, retracing to other blocks, fair value gaps and other blocks. That's one thing I've always mentioned on this Zoom call. When it comes to indices, we do respect a lot of fair value gaps and other blocks. So you might want to take advantage of that. I'm seeing another fair value gap, 1 hour time frame. Another other block again. However, there's CPI today, so we don't know what can happen with that, right? But the fundamental, when it comes to technical analysis, right? After market structure, or in addition to your market structure, in addition to whatever strategy you are using to trade indices, you can be mindful and careful of other blocks and fair value gap. They work very well with US 30, that's Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and S&P 500. So, like we mentioned, every retracement is an opportunity to buy to the upside on NAS 100 because it's in a price discovery environment, meaning price is in new place entirely, right? And so what we do is we just want to follow the trend carefully until the trends finally change, right? And when it changes, we calm down and be patient to see if it's going to align to the previous trend, and then we continue, or we just follow the new trend that has been created. So that will be all for US 100 because there's nothing really special or with this guy. It has been on a bullish move since for the past 1 month. We've been shouting it. We've been shouting it on this market color. And also the same with S&P 500. You see that we don't mostly look at S&P 500. They move in tandem. So their price action almost like the same. It's just the US 30 that is behaving very funny. Forgive my permission. Forgive my usage of word. Permit me to use the word. Is behaving like an obanje. But it is what it is, right? I mean, if you were in this call this week, Tuesday, that's 2 days ago, on Tuesday, during London social market color, that's like the morning market color, we said we're going to buy US 30. You're bullish on US 30. We said we're going to buy US 30, right? And we had our markup. Let me even draw the markup so that you will believe, you agree with me that after this markup, that US 30 is giving very strangely. We had this markup, everything. We had this first level of structural liquidity, and this other level of structural liquidity. In fact, we said this one has already been cleared, so price has every reason to go to the upside. However, we're very bullish that, or we're very strong on the opinion that price might most likely come back, take out this guy, and then start moving to the upside, right? And our SL was here. Our SL was quite here in this place. What happened during the New York market color session of that same day? I had to just chest it because I was doing market color and price was going directly to my SL, right? And this was it. I think my SL was just quite below this, just below this guy. Our TP was here, guys. I believe anybody on that Zoom call can bear me witness that this was the markup we had during that New York market color session, even in the morning. And what happened? See what price did. Just went straight to Denver SL, tapped on it, and then what happened? So a quick rejection, bullish movement to the upside, right? Boom, sold off a little bit, and then look at this strong candle. So you can agree, we can all agree that this is an Okay, Pips don't lie. Said, I remember you said it almost took you out. Wow. Wow, didn't let that, but okay. Yeah, 2 pips to your ASL. Exactly. Pips don't lie, remember. Exactly. Did this thing, took me out finally, and then what happened next? We saw this rally to the upside and then came back, did exactly what we expected it to do because it was very clear and obvious, right? Price is going to eventually align with the rest of other peers in that asset class. US 30, US 100 was already buying, S&P was strongly bullish. So we expected that Dow Jones also, the US 30 should align, which it did, but eventually it took me out. Which it did, but eventually took me out before moving. Copper is saying, will it be realistic to have placed the SL below the other block on the left? My brother, hindsight analysis is very good. All right. Even me, I saw a letter. I was like, oh, yes, I should have placed it on this other block. But the truth about it, it has been tested before, right? Price tapped into it this time, right? And then it has cleared structural liquidity. But of course, it's a good thing to put to have it just beneath this. But usually the way I trade US 30 is that I give it some space. Probably I add 10, 15, no, 10, yes, 10 to 15 extra pip to it so that in case things like this happen, I'm still in that trade. Sometimes it do happen. The price will just tap on your structural liquidity and then move without even going for your SL. However, sometimes it's going to clear even your strong low. Not, you see that this was not properly cleared, right? Just tapped into it, violated it, and then immediately we saw that rejection to the upside. So assuming we gave it an extra 10 pip coverage, that wouldn't have happened. We'll have still, make a lot of money with this trade. Something like this. Imagine full TP, no long story, 1:6 RR. Right? But stop, it is what it is. And welcome to trading. This is trading. It pained me, guys, to be sincere. No cap here. It pained me because I was so big on this trade. It was very clear and obvious. However, it is what it is in the market. You just move. So what are we expecting for today? Price has done that, shown us a bit of shiggy, and we move on 4 hours. Let's look at what is happening. All right, there's CPI today. So I'm looking at this level. Price might want to reach to this level for the bullish move to continue coming. It seems like a same break on structure and liquidity. If price gets to this level, then we should see some level of sell-off, right? Just a bit, right? I expect price to just for this morning intraday analysis, price should tap into this fair value gap and this zone here, this entire zone. We should see price tap into it and then continue to the upside. And if this does not hold, then we should see it coming to this level, tap into this fair value gap. But typically, I believe I want to hold strongly that this level should hold, price tapping into this, and then we continue to the upside to this level, right? So that is what I'm looking at for intraday analysis. I might not necessarily be taking this trade because my strategy, I have to see strong low swept. I have to see a break of structure and a structural liquidity formed that price is going to take out before I now engage in that trade. So I might not be engaging in this trade, particularly this morning, because on those other confluences have not showed up on the chart. So that is what I'm looking at for today. And that break of structure and liquidity is around here, but it's very far from where price is now. Let's look at what CPI is going to do, right? I hope CPI gives us more data, right, to trade this guy in terms of more candlestick forming. If we see enough candlestick forming to the downside and coming around this region, I'm going to buy to the upside. I'll continue taking this buy to the upside. However, if I see it push to this level, right? I'm just going to sell it temporarily. I mean a very short sell, right? Very short sell, because fundamentally we are bullish all the way across board. US 30, NAS 100, S&P 500. They are bullish. They are bullish. Any guy that is, or anybody trying to sell NAS, that's been trying to sell NAS for any, by mistake or by technical analysis, if it's not a scalping trade, like a scalp just in and out, I'm sure that person's account is gone already. I'm sure. If it's not a scalp, in out, 1, 2, and you're out, your account will be gone, because overall they are very bullish. Overall, you can see market structure, a textbook strategy, higher highs, higher lows forming. So this is to tell you that please be safe. Ensure today is CPI news. If you know you can't stomach the whole up and down you're going to see today in terms of price movement, just stay out, right? Or place a trade on your demo, right? But there's no even need putting yourself in that emotional roller coaster. There's nothing bad if you get to 130 and you just open your chart and watch how the market is going to play out. There's nothing bad, right? Just stay out and then keep your money. Capital preservation is the first thing before capital appreciation or capital growth. So ensure you keep your equity, secure them, don't over leverage, no over trade. So this is where we call it the end of today's London session market color. If you have any question in the chat box, please, you can ask your question. This is a very good place for you to ask your question. Greek Crown is asking, is only you question, sure. It's only your peer. My brother, please, if you can, I don't even know who this person is. If you can rephrase the question, I'm struggling to understand what you're saying. Please help me understand. Help me understand your question. If you can rephrase it again. It's only you and Pierre. Okay, that's what I saw. So if you have any other question, please let's ask in the chat box before our boss comes up for his commentary today on. Okay. All right, bro. Me and my peer, Abby, don't worry. You can join us. I just meant it's only you that can trade this. It's only me. No, it's not only me that can trade this pair. There are thousands of people trading US 30 now. Thousands of people trading US 30, NAS, what's it called? DAX 40, is it all these DAX 30 now? And German 30, a lot of people trading out there. So please, if you have any question, you can begin to ask your question. Have any commentary, any contrary opinion, of course, the floor, you're welcome. You're welcome. Express yourself in the chat box before we call on our boss. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Demola. So, yes, it looks like the markets are finally entering some sort of holiday mode. The liquidity is crazy. So the volumes are so thin. But based on the analysis we did yesterday, I mentioned that for the yen pairs, we should see them coming down. That really didn't happen. Let's see NZDJPY. There was an order block that we had marked. I don't know if you can still see that, where we said price was going to tap into. I think that's it there. Is that it? I'm trying to see where we marked a particular level.
What time frame, sir?
I think it was, okay, yes, price tapped into it. Let's see it on the 1 hour. That's it there. Okay. Yes, that's where we marked. No, just the lower red exactly there, that we said was a good place to take a buy.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember from yesterday. Although it will have been tough because we see now that price actually the same thing that happened on your the thing that happened on your US price actually licked it all the way down before finally going up. And so this now also leaves or begs the question, if you get stopped out like this, where is a good place for a re-entry, right? Meaning, as price took out that order block, right? Even though you can see it never closed below that low. If we zoom in, it never closed below that low.
Exactly.
But it wiped out people's stops. So once you see that, then you see the IOFED, the fair value gap on the right and on the left, right? Exactly there. So where is a good place for a re-entry if you get stopped out? This is what you can do. The only challenge is when you get stopped out, sometimes what you call re-entry is revenge trading, where you don't want to accept that you have been stopped out.
Yes.
You just can't accept it and you want to quickly make back that loss, right? So I'm a bit careful saying this. But sometimes if you are very right, like this trade now, that it didn't close below that order block, what you can do is the fair value gap that grabbed your stop, right? You can mark it. The momentum move that grabbed your stop loss. So you see that fair value gap just before the candle that wiped out your stop loss. So you see the place that would have wiped out the stop loss?
This one?
Exactly. You see that fair value? Exactly. What you can do is you can mark out the opening price of that candle or that entire fair value gap, right? And if price goes back and closes above the fair value gap, that now forms what some of you may know as an IFVG, an inverted fair value gap. Is there anybody on this call that has heard of that term before? Inverted fair value gap. It looks somehow like an IOFED. They are similar, but they are not exactly the same. So when you see that you have been stopped out, you now say, oh, where is my re-entry? Where is my re-entry? Because I'm right on the direction, but I was just unlucky. So what can happen is that IOFED, sorry, that IFVG, that fair value gap that led to the push to the downside, you mark it. It simply means when you have a fair value gap to the downside, you now have a reversal fair value gap like 2 or 3 candles later that closes that first fair value gap. So if you notice, zoom in, Demola. Exactly. Do you see that there is a push to the downside with a fair value gap?
Yes.
And what now happens is after it has wicked out your stop loss, after it has chopped the stop loss, it now formed another fair value gap to the upside that closes above that first fair value gap. A reversal fair value gap. So once that happens, what usually happens is people will enter at the exact close of that fair value gap. So as it pushed to the upside around 98.30 and closed there, people will enter there. That's the first way for a re-entry. Or people will measure 50% of that fair value gap and wait in the entry. Does this make sense? Does this make sense?
I think the network, you went off a bit, sir.
What I said, does it make sense to anyone? I'm on a call, Jaya. 2 o'clock. Can you hear me now? Sorry, internet failed. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So this is for a re-entry. So you will see, now that's if your stop was taken out with a violent fair value gap. If your stop was just gradually taken out, just accept your stop, like your loss like that. But if it was a violent move to the downside, meaning it's a sweep, and it takes you out, wait for that fair value gap to be closed with an opposite fair value gap. And then enter once that fair value gap is closed, or enter when there's a 50% retracement. Okay, so let's see this, Demola, on that your trade. Exactly, those are the two. So some may want to screen grab this. Let's see this on US 30, the trade where you were stopped out. Where will the stop loss be? The stop loss will be on the low. The stop loss will be on the low. That's your stop loss will be on the stop hunt that happened, the low of the stop hunt. Or those people who want to keep it tight, you see that there is a fair value gap and there's another fair value gap before that fair value gap. There's another fair value gap before that other fair value gap. It can be that low. This is the logic. If it's truly a stop hunt, once price moves with momentum upward, price shouldn't come back again. All right. So let's see your trade on the trade that you got stopped at, and see if there was something like that played out. You may want to check it on the 1 hour or the 15 minutes. So the IFVG doesn't have to be on a higher time frame. It can be on a shorter or smaller time frame, right? Just make sure it closes. So let's see. Okay. There's that there. And let's see where you were stopped out.
That's yeah.
Okay. So if we zoom in, so what do we look out for? Once you are stopped out, that's not the time to start entering anywhere. Once you are stopped out, this is what you do. Was there a fair value gap that stopped you out? Let's see.
It's just 1 year.
So there's a fair value gap that stopped you out. So
Yes.
what are we looking for? We want to see price close with a fair value gap above that level. So mark the high of that fair value gap, please. Sorry, not the high. I'm sorry. Mark the open. It's not the high. It's the open. It's the open. No. The open is at the top. The open, exactly there. So that's the level that price, if price closes above it, now there's a small problem here. We have a fair value gap, then we have another fair value gap. So what I will do is I will look for a time frame where it is a single fair value gap. So let's see it on 5 minutes. Zoom in a bit.
No fair value gap on 5 minutes.
Okay. There's no fair value gap on 5 minutes. Let's see it on 30 minutes. Now, the reason why one didn't just enter it in that place is because of the stop loss. We want to put our stop loss just below. Okay, it's a bit wide.
Yeah.
It's quite wide. quite wide. So what one can do is you can just, since it is fair value gaps that closed it, so you can see that you have fair value gap after fair value gap after fair value gap, which is indicative of momentum. What you can now do, let's go back to that 15 minutes. I'll just take from where one can do, can we call it flip zone? Okay, maybe that's what people call flip zone. I don't know. But the logic is if it moved with force to the downside, want to see it move with force above it. Exactly. So I would just fib 50%. 50% of, so I would take all of them as one fair value gap. That fair value gap, that small one, then the one above, I will fib 50% of that because the second fair value gap closed well above the stop hunt fair value gap. So let's mark 50%.
Of this entire level?
Let's mark 50%. I don't know if you understand what I just said, Demola.
No, sir.
So that fair value gap that didn't close above it,
yes,
plus that small candle, plus the next fair value gap that closed above that line,
okay,
I will take all of them and do the fib of 50% of those three candles gap that approach the yellow line, the small doji that crossed the yellow line, and the fair value gap after exactly. I will look at 50% of that. So there are two things.
that's 60%, the red line.
Once price closed above that yellow line, that can be your entry. The second one is any fair value gap that closes above that yellow line, that will be the entry. Okay? So you notice price came below 50%. Oh my, network.
Can still hear you, sir.
Network. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, fantastic. So once price closes above that above that yellow line, and is a fair value gap that closed it, a sharp move, a momentum candle. Once price closes above it, take my 50%. Then someone asked, where will your stop loss be? Typically, you notice that there is a fair value gap before the fair value gap that closes above the yellow line. Typically, you will see an initial fair value gap as if price is trying to gather energy to move. It will be below the low of that fair value gap. That's the safest possible place. So if you zoom in, you will see that there was an attempt after the stop hunt, there was a fair value. Exactly. That's it there. Exactly. It will be just below that low. Just below that low. Because look at the logic. That was the first attempt to move. And price didn't get there. If price is really going to move, it shouldn't get there. So that's the first attempt. So that's where your SL will be. I don't know if this makes sense. So shoulder, sweep, then you got stopped out.
Yes.
The stop out, was it caused by a fair value gap move? If it was, you mark the open of that fair value gap. That's the line. Once you get stopped out, did it give you fair value gaps to break above that line? If it did, once it breaks above that line, go to the time frame where you can see, even me, I'll still refine this time frame. What does dynamism mean? No, we're still trying to understand IOFED and IFVG. They've put dynamism again. Like you said, these concepts, just understand the, yes, but dynamic, yes. So let's come to the 5 minutes. and see if we could have even refined it further. Could have refined it further.
No VG on this time frame.
There's no FVG. Okay. But you see where our low would have been, but our stop loss would have been the first attempt of fair value gap. So you can just refine. So this is the logic. I was stopped out. Was I stopped out by a fair value gap? Yes. If I was stopped out by the fair value gap, go to the opening price of that fair value gap, mark it. If price uses another opposite fair value gap to break above that one, take 50% because price is supposed to come back into it. Or enter at the close of that fair value gap. Once you enter there, put your stop loss at the start of any fair value gap that started that move. Do your risk to reward and take your trade. So, Demola, would this have been helpful in any way for this stop out?
Yes. It's not the courage to take another trade.
Yes, that's why I said you are not doing this. Yes, it can be applied to any pair. And it's not that you just be looking, it's when your box pattern when a valid box pattern gets stopped out. It's not a general thing that you're just looking for IFVGs. There are people that just trade IFVG like that.
Yeah.
IFVG like that. Anywhere they see IFVG, anywhere they see, you have too many entries. Is when a valid setup fails, then you look for IFVG and you take that trade, all right? So that's all I have to share today. Since we saw it play out and we saw it get stopped out. So it's a spirit is winning, but see, let me tell you, ideally, once you get stopped out, you should take your L like a champion. Yep. But I'm saying, if you see this, then you know that stop out too was a sweep. So how do you enter after that sweep? You use the fair value gaps, all right? Emotional liquidity comes in play, yes, so emotional capital. If you still have what it takes, another thing you can do is you can reduce your lot size greatly and just use it to test this so that when next you get stopped out, you're not be like, oh, okay, let me try IFVG, inverted fair value gap, or opposing fair value gap. Please ask your question on fundamentals. Jerry Chidi said, how can I interpret fundamentals and what time frame can I trade with fundamentals? Generally, when you say fundamentals, the most important fundamentals is interest rates and interest rate differentials. That's the most important because all that traders are looking for, yield. And yield is a function of interest rates and inflation. So the most important fundamental is interest rates, monetary policy announcements by the central bank of that currency, and then inflation, because inflation affects yield. So anything you see CPI, anything you see PMI, Purchasing Managers Index, Consumer Price Index, then monetary policy interest rates announcements for the US is FOMC every other Wednesday, 7 to 7:30 p.m. Once you see this data, these are the ones you should look out for. Things like non-farm payroll just inject unemployment. They just inject volatility into the market. Unemployment is not as important as interest rates and inflation. So that's it. How can you interpret it? So, if inflation is increasing, generally, if inflation is increasing, they will be increasing the interest rates to battle inflation. Generally. So you look at the relationship between inflation and interest rates. If the news that is coming out is telling you that inflation is increasing, you will expect that there will be interest rate increment too to combat inflation, right? But if you're trading fundamentals, stick to one pair. Stick to one pair. You can't do fundamentals of many pairs. You have to know the story. And if you're trading fundamentals, as much as it's possible, stick to dollar fundamentals, USD fundamentals, and forget about all the other fundamentals, all right? Then once inflation is a subject or is a problem, it will affect gold. It will affect gold. So what time frame can you trade the fundamentals? Generally, fundamentals are on the higher time frame. It takes time. when you have an interest rate announcement, that move is going to last for like 3 months. So if you are trading fundamentals, you are looking at daily trends and you're looking at entries on 4 hours, minimum 1 hour. Once you're trading fundamentals and you are going below 1 hour, you are wasting your time because it's a fundamental news. If a central bank gives a decision, it can't last for a day or two. It should last for at least a quarter or 2 quarters, all right? So that's my own 2 cents with regard to fundamentals. What else? Study growth, study inflation. But fundamentals is never straightforward. You have to have a real grasp. Just trade what Demola just, these are box pattern, and use intermarket analysis, sentiment analysis. But fundamentals is tricky. But if you are crazy about fundamentals, there's this guy called Ken Chigo. Ken Chigo. I don't know if some of you have heard about him. Yes, and he trades the GBP USD. Just follow his page, follow his YouTube, and trade GBP USD. All right? Me, I want to learn all these fundamentals. Please learn it. Please learn it. How do you trade interest rate differentials? It's simple now. Which country has the higher interest rate? Which country has the lower interest rate? People will borrow money from the lower interest rate country and go and buy the higher interest rate pair. But, a big but, that depends on the stability of that currency, all right? So Ken Chigo, Copacabana, follow Ken Chigo, watch all his YouTube posts for the past how many, 5-7 years, and trade GBP USD like him so you understand the fundamentals of GBP USD. Any other question from any other person? All right, over to you, Demola. Thank you for a great time. Over to you. Cheers and God bless.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful commentary. All right, guys, we've learned so much today. Please, if this session was valuable to you, drop an emoji in the chat box showing your appreciation. Let boss know that we are grateful. Drop your emojis. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. For those that want to learn fundamental, like boss have said, you can join. Ken Chigo is Discord server. Join it. You're gonna learn a lot. So there's this lady. In addition to what boss said, there's this lady on IG also, Macro Queen. Join, follow her, and then you learn a lot too. So that'll be the end of today's London session market color. See you again by 3 o'clock for the New York session market color, and there we do a breakdown of how all of our analysis this morning went, and also to see if there's other opportunity in the market for us to take. That being said, guys, we're coming to Abuja for the ATM cash flow training, the first of its kind in Abuja, the city of Abuja. So you have somebody that wants to learn how to make money from VIX, Now that GU and dollar has been giving funny, also some Ogbande vibes, that is when we go to synthetic and milk the living day out of synthetic. Take trades there, swing trade, take intraday scalp, make a lot of money consistently from Monday to Sunday every day. It runs 24/7 without any news intervention, without any form of market manipulation, like we used to say, the one we see in currency. So you want to join that side of things. Pips is asking, Pips don't lie. Please, the names again. Ken Chigo, Micro Queen on IG or YouTube. You're going to get their name. So ensure you sign up for the training. Our DMs are open every handle, WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, and Instagram. You can reach out to us, right? And then we're going to get you onboarded, right? It's happening on the 21st to 26th of this month, July 2024. The great news, we'll be providing, although it's very limited, but those that are able to join this session, there's a provision, right? It's a provision limited and also on first come, first serve basis, right? You sign up, we're providing you with capital you can use to start your trading journey, right? Provide you with capital that you're going to use to start your trading journey, meaning we're giving out VIX prop accounts you can use to start your trading journey, right? Then, like I said, T and C applies. ensure you join this edition. For this edition, ensure you join this edition. And also, one more thing that is very important, boss will be in class as one of the facilitators alongside other trainers in the academy. So ensure you find your way into this edition. It's going to be mind-blowing. I tell you, it's nothing you've seen before. So ensure you find your way into this edition. Of course, our bots are available. You can reach out to us on our DM, and then we get you started with automated trading for those in the civil service, those having their busy schedule, but they want to still leverage on the markets to make money from them. Send a DM to us. We're going to set up an automated system for you that you can earn passively from without trading in the market. That being said, see you by 3 o'clock for our New York Market Scholar session. Ensure you use proper risk management, trade carefully. Cheers and God bless, guys.
If you're in the city of Abuja and you want to learn a skill that can help you earn as you learn, then listen up. Now, it's a common saying that it takes an average of 3 years to learn a skill and become profitable at it. How about I share a secret with you that can help you shorten that journey and help you make consistent weekly cash flow, meaning you get to earn while you learn. Allow me to introduce you to the ATM cash flow training. This is the only trading course that can take a total beginner trader up to an intermediate level and up to an advanced trader, taking you from basically 0 to hero. This training will be started from the 24th of July to the 26th of July live in the city of Abuja, and we're going to have our CEO with us, Ejimi, the profitable investor. It doesn't end there. Even after the training, there's going to be weekly follow-up classes with you and facilitators of the EFT Academy to ensure your profitability. Tell me, how much better does it get? If this is something you're interested in, send us a DM and we'll get you started. If you're in the city of Abuja and you want to learn